Excuse me. Okay. All right. I will call to order the January 15th meeting of Broadwater County Commissioners. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Good morning, everyone. I don't have any public here currently other than our wonderful MACO MCT representative. Good morning, attorneys. Let's see. We don't need to do that. Does anybody have any public comment this morning? Any announcements or public comment?
I would just remind the public, everybody that's listening, we are closed on Monday, January 20th.
Martin Luther King Day?
Yes.
Okay. I would add we will not have a commission meeting next week.
As of now.
As of right now.
We always say
Please
as of now.
check the website, but as of right now, we are not having a commission meeting next week. And the next commission meeting will be the 29th. Is there any other public comment? Any other public comment? Okay. First item is a discussion decision. Jessica Bushnell, our noxious weed coordinator, could not be here today, so I believe Commissioner Randolph is going to address this agenda item. It's the Townsend and Three Forks Mosquito noxious weed plan.
I do have this, and this weed plan is updated every 2 years, so there were just some adjustments made to it, and Jessica Bushnell, the coordinator, emailed me just some notes on it, and I will read that. One of the primary duties of the Noxious Weed Board is to draft and recommend the Broadwater County Noxious Weed Management Plan. The County Noxious Weed Plan is submitted to the Department of Agriculture every 2 years and allows the county to apply for noxious weed grants through the Department of Ag. The board completed minor updates to the plan, including updating the noxious weed list to meet the state's list and updating the land ownership acres. The Broadwater County Noxious Weed Board has approved and updated the County Noxious Weed Management Plan at its December meeting and is recommending approval today. The Noxious Weed Board looks at this on an ongoing basis and updates it, and they do a fantastic job. Along with this, and there's, I think, 60 pages of specific weed information that most of it I cannot pronounce, so I'm not even going to try. But Jessica Bushnell knows how to pronounce them and treat them, and so the commissioners have all had a chance to look at the plan, and that is effective from today, assuming we approve it, through December 31st, 2017, or 2027.
Just 10 years off.
All right.
Good. Commissioner Randolph, I was wondering, what is the best place to get info on, like, on the weeds, on noxious weeds, and things such as like spray dates and when the weed crew is out doing that kind of stuff?
On the new website, it's going to be easier to find, and also contact Jessica directly. The weed plan will be on the new website. And then in the hallway, there's lots of information. But feel free to call Jessica Bushnell directly or email her.
And she has a Facebook page, right?
The mosquito has a Facebook
mosquito.
page. Yes,
okay.
Not the weed.
Okay.
But she will answer if you have something and you want to know how to kill it. She will tell you.
Perfect. I do also know, just and going back through here, we do have a financial assistance program, right?
Yeah, the cost share program.
Yes, cost share. Thank you.
And that she's going to get that information out, I think, in February.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. Anybody else have any thoughts? on the
No, everything looks really good in it. It's very complete.
Yeah, it has some great information, actually,
Yeah.
just on the divisions of land and who owns what in Broadwater County. It's pretty interesting as far as weed plants go. All right. Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the Broadwater County Noxious Weed Management Plan.
Okay.
I will second that.
All right. There has been a motion and a second to approve the Broadwater County Noxious Weed Management Plan. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Excuse me. Any public comment? Okay. Hearing none. All in favor of approving the Broadwater County Noxious Weed Management Plan, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. Do you have a clean page with your name spelled right?
I do not.
You do not? Okay.
I don't.
Okay. I know there was one other thing we had to edit, just a misspelling, so we will take care of that when we get back.
Yeah, I have the clean copy.
You do?
I mean, I have it corrected, but it's not clean.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's see, 10:05. Oops. Next item is discussion decision, Nicole Brown, Community Development and Planning Director, on the resolution updating Broadwater County subdivision fees. And I believe today we are just having a discussion on this.
That is correct, Madam Chair. Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director and Planner, here today to present to you a proposed amendment to our Broadwater County subdivision fee schedule. Today is discussion only. So if I may, I would like to just walk through the proposed schedule of fees, the amendments to the schedule of fees. These have been posted on the Broadwater County website since, I believe, last Friday.
And we will be discussing this again.
February 29th.
29th, yes.
Ma'am?
January.
January
That might
29th.
go
you.
into February. No.
January
29th.
29th. Thank you for that correction.
Yeah.
And potentially February 5th,
Okay,
depending on the need
okay,
to continue discussion.
perfect. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So if I can draw your attention to page 2 of the proposed resolution. Under preliminary fees, subsequent minor fee has been added. That really is just a clarification. Subsequent minors follow the pattern of major subdivision. They follow the major subdivision review procedure, if you will. But I think it's important to note that the fee for that does not follow the major subdivision review fees of $2,000 as the initial fee. So it's $1,500 for a subsequent minor subdivision. So that's a proposed amendment. Another proposed amendment, or a section of proposed amendments, is the amended applications prior to governing body decision on preliminary plat for a minor. So this is new. Typically, a subdivision, just to walk you through the process, I receive a subdivision application. If I deem an element complete and sufficient, I present it to the Broadwater County Planning Board. The Planning Board either takes, well, not in a minor, excuse me, they don't have a public hearing. The Planning Board makes their recommendations, which I then present to this governing body. So this amendment would occur post-Planning Board, post-staff review, prior to commission decision for preliminary plat approval or preliminary plat denial. Oftentimes what would happen in that instance, maybe a road changes, a lot changes, a fire plan changes. So that's where these fees would come into play. So this is pre-governing body decision on preliminary plat for a minor. The proposed fee for that would be $250, simply because it does take a bit of staff time. But it's not a heavy lift typically. The next section, amended applications following governing body decision on a minor. The proposed fee for that is $550. So the instance in which that would happen, similar to what I walked you through on the preliminary, the application would come to my office. I would deem it element complete, sufficient. I would take it to the planning board. The planning board makes their recommendations. I bring it forward to the commissioners, this governing body. The governing body makes your recommendation, and the developer decides to make a change, typically at the request or of the governing body, or based on conversations that are had with the public at the commission meeting. So that's when that fee would come into place. The next one on the list, amendment to conditions of preliminary plat. So again, a developer has received preliminary plat approval from the governing body and is working through to meet the conditions of preliminary plat approval in order to obtain final plat approval, but discovers that one of the conditions maybe is an impossibility to meet or is a hardship to meet, and this governing body decides that they would amend that condition of approval. I'm giving you the Cliff Notes version of this. Obviously, there's a lot more involved than that, but that's when that fee would enter. The next one on the list, and I can pause for questions if you'd like, or I can keep going, Madam Chair, if you'd prefer. I don't.
If someone has a question, just please let me know, and I'll stop.
Perfect. Thank you. Amended applications prior to public hearing. So the public hearing is held at the planning board level. Again, a developer submits the application to my office. I deem it element complete and sufficient. I take it to the planning board. This is for majors or subsequent minors only when public hearings are held. So the public hearing is scheduled to be held, and the developer determines that they would like to make an amendment. This fee would enter in at that point, because it does take some staff time, and that would extend the time clock, as we refer to it. For a major subdivision less than 50 lots, the time clock is 60 working days. 50 lots or greater is 80 working days. For a minor, this wouldn't enter. This fee wouldn't enter. The next one on the list, amended applications following the public hearing. Again, same process, other than the public hearing is already held. And we've actually had this instance pop up quite frequently. We really encourage public participation in all of our meetings, but especially public hearings, because the neighbors in the area, the adjacent property owners, are really way more intimately involved with the land than those of us are here in these offices, if you will. So some insight may come about because of public comment that a developer decides to make a change. So this fee would be applicable because it would be post-public hearing. The next one, the county contracted engineer hydrologic analysis review fee. It's a lot to say. This fee is $4,000 minimum. The reason for this fee, as everyone in this room is aware, and I know you're all aware because we've worked with it, there was a ruling on February 14th in district court in Broadwater County. Broadwater County was not successful in that lawsuit. Essentially, Judge McMahon ruled that a hydrologic analysis should be performed on all subdivisions requiring an environmental assessment, so subsequent minors and majors only. With that hydrologic assessment, county staff is tasked with performing an analysis of the assessment. And I promise you, I am not the person, I'm not the subject matter expert on hydrology. So for me to provide an analysis on an assessment, I would be doing the county a disservice. So the county has contracted with Great West Engineering. They are the county's contracted engineer. Great West Engineering has signed a task order. I believe it was in May of last year. And I apologize, I did not bring the task order, but that is on file in the county. If anybody would like to see that, I'm happy to provide that. The task order is from Great West Engineering to provide the analysis on the hydrologic assessment performed by the developer's engineer. So the analysis will give us the condensed version of the assessment, us, as in the county, excuse me, to let the county know that this assessment is accurate. Because again, I am unable. I am not at all the person to be providing this analysis. Nor do we have a staff member in Broadwater County who could provide this analysis. So, Great West Engineering signed the task order stating that they would perform this analysis at a cost of $4,000 minimum per project, with the possibility of an increased fee if it takes more time on Great West Engineering's part. So, to finish out this fee, if you read the line just below it, it states, if the actual cost to the county to facilitate review of the hydrologic report exceeds $4,000, the additional amount will be paid by the subdivider. And this is to ensure that all taxpayers in Broadwater County are not participating in paying for any cost of development. The cost of development will be directly billed to the developer. So thus the increase in this fee. Again, this would only be pertinent, this fee would only be pertinent if an environmental assessment were included in a preliminary plat application.
Which has to happen for majors and subsequent minors, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That is correct.
If there, for, just because I know there's been some discussion on this, and I think there will be more, for something like lifting an ag covenant, you have to go through subdivision. That is an MCA. That is something we have to follow. There could be discussion about, obviously this is a spendy fee. This is a lot of money for someone who may not be developing multiple properties, right, or multiple lots. They just are trying to lift an ag covenant. As we discuss this, I think that there'll be a question about how, if I'm trying to do that on my property and lift this ag covenant, what are my options? What are my options here? Is that something we have to have a policy for in the county, or do we need to know, do I apply for a variance? How will that work? And if you don't know, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
No,
excuse me, Madam Chair. So the lifting of an ag covenant, this fee would actually not be applicable.
Yeah.
Because the lifting of an ag covenant would be considered a first minor subdivision.
Okay.
First minor subdivisions are not required to provide an environmental assessment.
Perfect.
Therefore,
Okay.
they would not be required to provide the hydrologic assessment, excuse me.
Okay.
There could be an instance where a variance might be requested.
Okay.
Typically, I could see that happening on a subsequent minor.
Mm-hmm.
So you have, let's just as a scenario, you have a 20-acre parcel that's in a subdivision. A developer decides they want to split that 20-acre parcel into two. Well, that's a subsequent minor. They're only, I shouldn't use the word only, but they're only creating two lots. They're only creating one additional buildable site on that property. Mm-hmm. Would it be pertinent or prudent for them to request a variance? I can't say yes or no, but that might be an instance where that might come about. The tricky part of variances, they can only be approved by the governing body. The governing body can't receive any information regarding a subdivision until it comes to you for preliminary plat approval request. So it really is a gamble. And I do advise all developers that are looking to request a variance that this is a gamble. You're paying your fee, your non-refundable fees. You're going through the process of a public hearing. You're taking all of this time to get to the commission level. The first order of business before the commissioners can grant preliminary plat approval would be a variance approval or denial. Obviously, if the variance is denied, we know what that means. It's going to send it back to the beginning.
Right.
So I just wanted to caveat that with, yes, they can request a variance. You can request a variance on pretty much anything.
Okay.
Can it be approved? That's a whole other.
And it can't be approved ahead of time, or we can't look at it ahead of time because of how the subdivision rules work out, regardless of what variance, what type of variance, whether it would be for this or anything else that you're applying for, correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's ex parte communication that the commissioners would not participate in.
I just want to add a follow-up to that real quick. That is one reason the commissioners attend and can attend any board meeting except the planning board meeting. Mm-hmm. So if somebody asked recently, why don't we go to planning board meetings? We can't. It's plain and simple.
Yes, ma'am. That is correct. Commissioners cannot attend planning board meetings. I can have very, very little communication with you regarding subdivisions, and when I say very little, almost none. Other than to say there may be a subdivision coming in. I can't tell you where it is. I can't tell you who's doing it, how many lots. I can't even tell you the name. And we do that on purpose.
This has been such a gray process for us with these hydrologic studies that are required now. Obviously, again, dictated by the court that we have to have something. So it's a necessary evil, unfortunately.
Madam Chair, that is correct. There is some hope, if you will, that the folks at the Capitol today may come up with some new legislation, some new laws, guidance that county planners, county staff, county commissioners can follow. But for now, this has been legal guidance. This is where we are. We feel very comfortable in this position, but also we have got to be sure, we as a county have got to be sure that the cost of development is directly attributable to that specific developer.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that one?
Nope.
Thanks
And
for
I-
letting me interrupt you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do know that is the biggest one. That's the biggest fee change that we have in this schedule here. So I hope and anticipate some discussion from the public, which again, this is why we're taking at least 2 meetings, if not more.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I don't have the answer yet, but I will by the next meeting have slightly different verbiage for this. This fine print that you read in here. I'm not there yet, but just a little clarification.
Absolutely. I think
I'm-
more clarification
I'm
is always
working.
good. Perfect. Moving on. If no one has any additional questions on this topic. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. The next one is the fire protection review fee of $150. So the fire protection review fee, as I was looking into this, I had questions that I would like to discuss, or at least be considered by this board, by legal staff, by the public, should they have additional questions or insight on this. In looking at the fire district inspection fee, which is on page 3 of the document, which is $100, and I'm sorry, this is for majors only. The fire district inspection fee, which this is not a new fee, is for majors only. It's $100 plus $5 per lot. So looking at this fire protection review fee of $150, I was looking into our regulations. Section 5, R as in Roger, B as in boy, which is on page 82 of your regulations, if you have them with you. If not, no worries, because I will read it to you. This section, 5RB, states, prior to filing the final plat, all systems shall be installed and inspected and certified as meeting the necessary standards and are fully operational by a professional engineer licensed in the state of Montana. A copy of the inspection and certification will be provided to the local fire authority having jurisdiction. Now that's where I envision this $150 fee coming into play. So for a fire plan, a developer would work with their professional engineer to develop a fire plan. The professional engineer would then submit the inspection and certification to the local fire district, the local fire authority having jurisdiction. So in Broadwater County, we have the Three Forks Fire District. Everything south of 101, everything north of 101 is the Broadwater County Rural Fire District. So we have 2 fire authorities in Broadwater County. So that's where I see this $150 going, if you will. It would go to the fire authority having jurisdiction that would be reviewing that fire inspection report from the engineer. The reason I bring up the fire district inspection fee for majors only, I'm wondering if the $150 fire protection review fee could cancel out the fire district inspection fee. Or if any of you, or again, members of the public or legal staff, could envision a scenario where we would need both. And I'm not expecting an answer from you at this moment as I'm giving it to you cold, simply putting it forward for part of our continuing discussion.
With the fire protection review fee for $150, is that, did you say that's for majors only? Or that's for everybody?
For everyone.
That's for everybody, okay.
Because every subdivision development is required to have a fire plan. And I think it would only be fair for the fire authority having jurisdiction to receive compensation for the review of that plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't envision that $150 fee staying with the county. It would either go to the Three Forks Fire District or the Broadwater County Rural Fire District. Moving on.
Yep.
Again, on page 3, at the top of page 3, phasing fees. This is a new section. Phasing fees would be in addition to the major or minor preliminary review fees. I realize putting minor in there, we likely will never use it, but it's not a zero-sum game to where there may be an instance where a minor subdivision chooses to do a phased plan. I can't envision one, but I don't want to discount it. Typically, phases are for very, very large minors, 100 plus lots, where a developer says, here's my overall vision, my plan, but to break it down into smaller sections that are manageable for the developer, financially, physically. Also, it's actually somewhat beneficial for staff. It's nice to see the overall development plan and what a developer's vision is for the property, but we're working on smaller sections of said development. So this phasing plan review fee would be in addition to the base fees that we have outlined in the preliminary fees. Moving on to the next section. I would like to move the title of final fees under the road department inspection fee, just above the final plat review fee. And I think that was just an editorial oversight, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And the last section of new fees at the bottom of page 3 and the top of page 4. The amendment to a final plat following governing body decision for a minor. So I've gone back and forth on this fee, and I'm not sure if it would be better to remove the material alterations section completely, because, again, I can't envision a scenario where a final plat would come forward for a material alteration without having to go through the process again, where they would have to start all the way at the beginning. I can see the immaterial alteration. Maybe not adding a road, not adding a lot, those are material alterations. I can't really point to a specific scenario at this moment for an immaterial alteration, but I can see where that may be a change of the title. We have one subdivision in Broadwater County that was submitted for preliminary plat approval, specifically Price Hills in southern Broadwater County. Submitted for preliminary plat approval, came through, actually recorded it as Price Hills. The developer, as he was marketing this, decided he did not like the name Price Hills, even though it was off Price Road, but most of the people who were looking at purchasing those lots were not familiar with Price Road and didn't like the name Price Hills. So the developer changed the name to The Village at Elk Ridge, which is what most of us know it as today. Pretty immaterial change. Not changing lots, not changing roads, parkland, changing the title of a subdivision. To follow up with that, the amendment to a final plat following governing body decision for a major. I believe we can get rid of that material alteration fee as well, because I again, can't envision a scenario where a material alteration to a final plat would not require the developer, whomever that may be, maybe not the original developer, but to go all the way back through the process from the very beginning, as in submitting to my office, element complete, sufficient, planning board, public hearing, commissioners. But
Otherwise, they'd get final approval, add 20 more lots and file it. Pay their $1,000 fee and go, yeah.
possible scenario,
Yeah.
yes.
No, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
But again, open for discussion on any of those. And with that, Madam Chair, that is the conclusion of the proposed amendments to the Broadwater County subdivision review fee schedule. But still open for discussion.
Madam Chair, may I make a comment?
Yes, please.
Kay Minor, Deputy County Attorney, spent a lot of time researching these and looking at other counties, and I think we all did at some point, and we don't try to compare our prices to Gallatin or Missoula or But it's always good to look and see what their pricing is, and we find similar size counties. It's kind of been our best practice. So I just want, for the record, these were not just decided. There was some research done behind them. That was all.
Thank you. Agreed. I think we'll keep this discussion going, obviously, till on the 29th, if not into February. I know we've been talking about it for a while and would like to see it finalized, but I encourage people to hop online and to check these out, to review them, especially if you're a developer or someone that may be subdividing.
Absolutely.
Chairwoman Rickmeyer, may I speak?
Yes, please.
I just wanted to, this is Kaylin Miner, Deputy County Attorney. I just wanted to emphasize some of the comments made by Director Brown, specifically regarding the fire protection review fees. I think it's an excellent idea that that money gets transmitted down to our rural fire districts. They need the support, and this is a great avenue to deliver those funds. However, I just wanted to make it very clear that those fire chiefs are not the ultimate approval authority for the fire protection plan. That's actually with the commission now. So I don't want developers out there or potential developers or people who are going through this process to think that, well, you know, Mr. So-and-so said I could do this, Mr. So-and-so down south said I could do something different. We really need to remember they're going to add their input, and we want more input. We want input at the planning board level through our fire district chiefs, but ultimately is a commission decision. So I just want people to remember that. And the commission has the right to approve it as it's presented. They can also suggest changes, or I guess it'd be really more from Director Brown, because I've heard of some rumblings where a suggestion may not be building code sufficient, for lack of a better word, and so the ultimate approval is going to come through you all. So that's just my public service announcement. That just because you talk to Mr. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so down south, it's not set in stone. All right. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. No, that's good.
That's
Thank you.
an
Good
excellent
points.
point. Yeah.
Good points, all of them. Thank you. Anybody else have thoughts on the subdivision fees? Okay,
Not yet.
all right, not yet. We'll keep looking at these, keep the discussion going. Thank you.
Moving on. Anything else for me before I head back? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole.
All right, moving on. Final agenda item, discussion decision. We have Misty Masolo, she's our Assistant Public Works Director here instead of TJ, for the solid waste canister rental agreement.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. So we had some updates on our canister rental agreement. They're just to reflect updated legal language and clarification in the invoicing and collection process. This it will not affect current customers. It'll just be for new customers moving forward.
Okay.
So.
Would you like to read this resolution? Sure. Great, thank you.
Resolution adopting the 2025 Broadwater County Canister Rental Agreement. Whereas the Board for the Broadwater County Refuse Disposal District Solid Waste Board recommended the adoption of canister rental fees and the Broadwater County Canister Rental Agreement in 2024. Whereas the Broadwater County Board of Commissioners passed and approved Resolution 2024-19 on August 14th, 2024. Whereas the canister rental fees and administrative fee amounts will be reviewed by the board and approved by the Broadwater County Commissioners on an annual basis to account for changes in disposal costs incurred by the county. And whereas no fee changes are being proposed at this time. However, slight changes to the formatting and content of the Broadwater County Canister Rental Agreement are being proposed. Be it hereby resolved that the Commissioners hereby adopt the 2025 Broadwater County Canister Rental Agreement attached to this resolution as Exhibit A. passed and approved by the Broadwater County Board of Commissioners this day of 2025.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So just some legal updates.
Yeah,
There's
just-
no changes to fees again.
Nope.
And I think there's some, we just kind of cleaned up the document a little bit.
Yeah,
made it a little
wording
easier.
on
Yeah.
the legal side. Yep.
Deputy County Attorney Minor, did you have anything you wanted to add on this?
Chairwoman Rick Meyer, no ma'am, other than to just emphasize what you stated, we cleaned up indemnification language as well as assumption of liability and making claim language. So it is solely legalese. It's not going to impact the services to the constituents. It's not going to impact the prices. So that's what we're holding. You know, like you guys have always said, solid waste provide an excellent service at the best, most affordable, possible. So price possible. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Misty.
Thanks.
Are there any thoughts on the canister policy?
I don't have anything that we haven't already kind
No.
of went over and discussed.
It was pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
and this will be used, if approved today, it'll be used for the contracts going forward, moving forward. All right. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the resolution adopting the 2025 Broadwater County Canister Rental Agreement.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve the resolution adopting the 2025 Broadwater County Canister Rental Agreement. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the resolution adopting the 2025 Broadwater County Canister Rental Agreement, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I did a clean copy of this. I can't see this one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Misty. Okay, on our consent agenda today, first item I want to get to is the insurance policy with Julie Zaparian. Would like to come up?
I'm Julie Zaparian with Centennial Insurance, and I have the renewal application for Broadwater County. I can give you all a copy.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I have met with, emailed, called, worked with the department heads, collecting all the information. This is for the 25-26 renewal. The only building, I listed it on here, but has not been added yet because it's not completed, is the new sheriff's building, the impound yard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want me to go through the application or?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So for the fiscal date, it's 6/30/25, which would be effective 7/1. The budget's $18,844,136. Bill Malone is still the safety coordinator. The deductibles for the property is $2,000. Auto physical damage is $2,500. Crime is $2,000. The general liability deductible is $2,000. The errors and omission deductible is $5,000. Employees benefit is $5,000. Sexual assault is $5,000. Auto liability is $2,000. We have 2 county nurses and 1 public health officer listed. We have appointed boards for fair, airport, mosquito, planning, health, museum, TV, refuse, weed, the Broadwater Trust, Parks and Recreation, Local Emergency Planning Committee, Investment Committee, Library, Community Child Protection Team, Mental Health Local Advisory Committee, 60 board members, 75 active volunteers. Sponsored events that we have listed. If you want to do any more, just make sure to call me that the county is sponsoring.
Okay.
Okay. We have the Townsend Farmers Market, the Broadwater Rodeo and Fair Parade, Lions Easter egg hunt that's on the courthouse lawn.
Julie, I have a question about that. Sorry to interrupt you, but before I forget, the Lions Easter egg, last year they didn't do it on our...
They didn't do it, and it's just always been listed on there. I can get off.
I don't know if they want to come back here, so maybe we should check with them.
Okay.
And I can do that.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I forgot about that till you said it out loud.
Okay.
and-
Yep, just let me know and I
Okay.
can,
So if they do it at the park, the other park again, we don't need to?
No.
Okay.
It's just anything on county property we
Right.
have to have
Right,
covered on
yep.
here. Okay,
Okay, I will find out.
yep, no, very good.
thank you.
The sheriff's office has 29 officers and 2 reserves. The law enforcement deductible is $5,000. And then I have to ask these questions. So in the past year, has any person, former employee, or job applicant made any claims alleging unfair or improper treatment regarding hiring, remuneration, advancement, or termination? If they have not been notified, that we have not been notified of? And I have no. In the past year, have any disputes involving integration, segregation, discrimination, or violations of civil rights arisen that have not been submitted? And I have no. Do you have any do you currently follow a formal grievance procedure for employee disputes and complaints? I believe you guys do. Do you have any knowledge or information of any incident occurrence which might give rise to a claim being made that hasn't been previously reported? And that's no. And then Broadwater County also has zoning commission liability, $10,000 deductible. Ethic violation liability, $10,000 deductible. Floodplain regulation enforcement liability with a $10,000 deductible.
What is the zoning commission liability? Can you explain that
Huh?
one? What is the zoning commission liability? Can you explain that one a little bit?
I'm not real sure,
Okay,
to be
that's
honest.
one to look into.
It's always been on there, to be honest.
Okay.
I can find out. And then, of course, Centennial Insurance, Inc. is the insurance agency, and I am the agent. And then, like I said, I went through all the equipment, buildings, vehicles.
You don't need to read through those.
Huh?
You don't need to read through those.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot.
No, please
Yeah.
don't. No, no, it's all right. No. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay. Wonderful. I think, can we put this on our agenda for the 29th to do a formal signature
Okay,
for you, or a formal approval?
absolutely.
Okay.
Do you want me to come in on the 29th then, or,
Would you like Julie to come back,
Or-
anybody?
I mean,
Or we can have just additional discussion about it. Just give us, I think what I'm looking for is just time to make sure. I know you've worked with
Absolutely.
everybody, but I just
Yep.
want to do our due diligence and make sure we've got
Yeah,
everything.
that is
covered
fine.
That's needed. That's all. But I don't think you need to come back in.
okay,
Madam Chairman, maybe in between now and the 29th, Julie, if you could let us know what that zoning thing is.
yeah, absolutely, yeah,
That would be great.
Just
Yep.
via email or whatever.
okay, yeah.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you very much.
Madam Chairman, if I may.
Yes,
Julie,
please.
we have a new process. There's a sign-in sheet over there. Would you please sign in?
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I didn't announce it at the beginning because there was nobody here, so thank you for keeping
Well, that's Dalene's. She reminded me.
Okay. All right. Okay, we've got some claims. First claim is the amount of $26,614.84.
I would move to approve the claims in the amount of $26,614.84.
I second that.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve claims for $26,614.84. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Your second set of claims is for $12,317.13.
I move to approve the claims in the amount of $12,317.13.
I'll second that motion.
There's been a motion and a second to approve claims for $12,317.13. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, we have two sets of minutes, one from December 18th, the other from January 8th. Is there a motion to approve minutes
I move to approve the minutes
from
from
Dec-
December, what was it, December 18th and January
8th?
8th. Something like that.
I will second that motion.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to approve minutes from December 18th and January 8th. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay. That is everything we've got. Are there any other announcements or updates?
No.
Again, we won't have a commission meeting at this time. Next week on the 22nd, our next commission meeting is scheduled for the 29th. But please check the website in case something pops up. Okay, all right. We'll adjourn. 10:50 on the money.